What's going on, y'all? Chris with NoLimitSquad, your personal Isochain and fitness vlogging channel. Today we're gonna cover how my clients have been doing on Isochain and more importantly, what's been going on with them. What have I noticed during our Isochain sessions? And I've noticed quite a few interesting things. A lot of things that either I myself was unaware of when I was on the Isochain, am on the Isochain for my own personal sessions, and just to make sure that they're doing the exercises totally correctly. So what I found, most of my clients, when I talk about the Isochain and I explain the benefits, what is in it for them, a lot of them are up for it. I actually thought that I would get more kickback, like more skepticism from the Isochain. Surprisingly, I don't. I usually get cooperation. I feel like a lot of that in turn is because, you know, one, they trust me, they know that I'm there to get them results. We've built a relationship, you know, and it's like No Limit Fitness has always been about getting my clients results, so that has never changed. So now I'm introducing a product that they have seen me get excited about for pretty much the entirety of 2020. And now we're almost midway through 2021 and the excitement hasn't dropped off one bit. And they see that. People know when you're, you know, full of BS and when you're actually genuinely excited about a product that you know works. And they know it. Now, here we are. We're about 5 months in at this point for my clients. Now everyone started in January. I have about 5 solid clients that I've had use the Isochain. I have a new Isochain only client that started about 2 weeks ago as well. So things are picking up. It's very interesting, it's very unique. Let's talk about the first thing, the results. Now, if you guys haven't seen my video on clients in the Isochain, here's a link right here. You should definitely check that out. The reason why is for what I'm about to say now. What seems to be happening is across the board, everybody is going up by about 20 to 25% in their first month using the Isochain. Now, this is absolute strength. So when you talk about absolute strength, you gotta think 1 RM. Now, of course, the counter, I'm a guy of logic, you know, I get excited about the numbers, I get excited about the Isochain. I've read the Isometric manual too many times at this point, as I'm sure a lot of us on the squad have, or at least are aware of that book. And they talk about the 5% superhuman strength gain thing, and which is all true, by the way, it's all facts. Someone could clearly argue, well, isn't that just the weightlifting? You know, so it's just recording our gains that are happening in the weightlifting realm that are just getting documented and translated into a digital number that we can see on the Isochain. So is it really the Isochain, not the weightlifting? So the answer is no, it is the Isochain. It's very much the Isochain. That reason alone is why I wanted to test the Isochain first before I had any of my clients step foot on the Isochain. Because when I performed the Isochain, I went up by about 65%. If we're talking from 0 to absolute best, it was in the low 80s. And I have a video on that. I'm gonna be like this in every video. You wanna see that video? Here's the link right here. Check it out. Very, very important. So I always like to use myself as a guinea pig first before I go suggesting it to other people. You know, I know other people have things to do in their life. I'm not gonna give them some bull crap. Bringing it back. So one of my clients that just started, like I mentioned earlier, just started a couple weeks ago. Now, I don't have video footage. She requested that she'd rather not be on camera, and that's totally fine. I always respect the wishes of my clients. That's totally fine. But what I'm already starting to see, she went up 7% on the third Isochain session. She slipped back a little bit, and then she went up 2%. So she's up a total of 16%, and it's been. This coming week is the start of her 3rd week. So she's already up 16%. Doesn't that look like it's following the trend? Now, keep in mind, she is a Isochain only client. She just came out of surgery. She has multiple areas that are fused together. She cannot go back to a lot of the jumping around and stuff like that. So I was like, why don't we do this? I told her, think of this as physical therapy on steroids. All right, what do they do in physical therapy? They strengthen you up. They have you do a lot of time under tension, isometrics to get your strength back. That's what they do. They even mentioned the isometric manual. The isometric manual is just crazy, guys. But it makes sense. I actually blew my back out. Originally in 2015, I was doing a delivery job, bringing a oxygen tank up a flight of stairs, and I pulled it. And that's the first thing that they had me do, is they had me do isometric exercises and physical therapy for 3 weeks. And it's totally the same thing. Now, in my opinion, this is way better, but I told her, and she was like, oh, okay. And she's starting to see, because now she's starting to get hooks. It's like, I beat my number, and she'll get upset when she don't beat her number, but she's competitive, and I like that. I like that drive. She's starting to see. Now, she's also in it for a couple other goals as well that I will definitely help her achieve, being weight loss and a couple other things, body fat percentage. But I told her, I was like, listen, all that stuff is gonna come, but right now, understand what the Isochain is all about. The Isochain alone will not help you lose weight. It will not help you lose weight alone. That comes from calorie deficit. I tell all my clients that. I was like, listen, I always talk about the big three. Whenever I'm training a client for weight loss, it's calorie deficit, it's strength training to develop lean muscle and build muscle. And the more muscle we build, the more body fat we lose, and cardiovascular exercise to burn straight calories, of course, build up our VO2 max, and just have a better cardiovascular system in general. Those three things are paramount to losing weight. So if they were just like, yeah, well, Chris, you know what? I really don't care about those two things. I'm just gonna not give a shit about cardio. I'm gonna eat whatever I want, but I'll do the weightlifting session with you at the gym. Oh, well, you most certainly can do that. And you're not gonna get nearly the amount of, my hamster is freaking out in the corner there, nearly the amount of weight loss that you could get if you follow the big three. Every time, I can always tell when somebody's following the big three. They just drop, it's like clockwork, every single week. Every single week, I just know. I've been doing this for too long already. So I know when people are doing it and when people aren't. Side note, bringing it back again, this is starting to become a thing, the whole bringing it back. It's like a circular motion. I don't even know why I decided on that. Back to the 20, I went on a major tangent. 20 to 25% for these strength gains is what I've started to notice across the board. My clients love I look down there, my notes are down there. My clients love the short sessions. They love the short sessions. What I find though, I don't want to say I'm really good at reading people because that might come across the wrong way. I'm good at picking up on body language. And I've gotten that some of my clients think that it's almost too short and they feel like, well, shouldn't we be doing something else? And that's why I go back and tell them, listen, for Isochain, isometric strength, less is more. It doesn't have to be a grueling 45-minute weightlifting session. For what we're using the Isochain for, less is more. Now, I have yet to have a client a strength/hypertrophy or hypertrophy lift for those 20 to 45 seconds and completely fatigue the muscle. I have not yet had any of my clients do that. But when they do, they will definitely notice the difference. I can't wait to have that on the channel as well. My isometric hypertrophy clients, that is gonna be wild. Provided they're doing the other two of the big three correctly. Fixing form. I've noticed, this is probably the biggest thing I've noticed training my clients on the Isochain is fixing the form. No matter whether it's dynamic movement or static, there is form. And if the form is broken, other muscles will get affected when they shouldn't, which, depending on who you talk to, they might even say that's a positive. To me, that's no. There's an exception to every rule. There's an exception to every rule on the face of the earth. My point is this: yanking at the chain. When we go into a contraction on the Isochain and there's a yank on the spring tension, I know you can't see it, but it's right here at my feet. This yanking at the spring tensioner is a little slack, and I always make sure to let the client know, listen, make sure there is no slack in the chain so that when you rip, it's already right there. It's not like a and then go. Does that make sense? I always stress that to them. The loading ring. When I'm correcting form on the client, they're probably tired of me doing this. Some of them I'm sure are like, why does he keep rotating the bar when I'm ready to go? And it's to make sure that the loading ring is set to the bottom. So I just want to make sure that the loading ring, y'all already know how I feel about that. Not bad. Again, not bad, but just better safe than sorry. Breathing. Now, my Isochain sessions are in the gym, so remember my video where I told us to get vocal, and I still follow that. You're gonna get a lot more if you exhale versus holding it in. You will. The numbers have now shown that consistently over the last 6, almost coming up on 7 months now, the numbers have shown that you do get a little bit more out of it by being vocal. So it doesn't have to be like a Dragon Ball Z yell or anything like that and blow out your freaking vocal cords or anything. But you do get more if you exhale during the contraction. Now, hypertrophy lifts, clearly, short breaths. I mean, I feel like that should go without saying. The strength increases have been wild. One of my awesome clients, and he gave me the okay to be on this video, Anthony, just pulled a 515 deadlift for a double, in fact. Now exceeding, his deadlift is now stronger than mine. My top was 505. I blew my back out attempting 515. So now I have finally developed a client that surpassed me in deadlift strength, and I am super proud of him. I am so proud of him for that. Interesting side note, when we were training, his deadlift was stuck in like the 3s. We wouldn't even touch 400 until the Isochain came through, and then it started with 400. I mean, this is for 1 RM, guys, not reps. 400, 410, 425. He would be telling me, hey man, let's put some more on there. Hey man, let's put some more on there. And I'm just like, whew, we starting to get up there, bro. We starting to get up there. And then all of a sudden, here we go. It's like 500, boom, knocks that out. He's like, yo, he asked me, he's like, your top was what? I was like, my top was 505. And I blew my back out at 515. He was like, let's go for 515. Boom, knocks it out. I'm so freaking proud of him. I'm so proud of him. We both know what his abilities were. I know what it looks like for a natural strength curve. I know what that looks like. I've been doing this for too long. I know the natural progression of a wide variety of people, and that wasn't normal. To me, what it looked like is we were definitely getting results. We were definitely getting results with our personal training, but when the Isochain came, it went like this. Does that make sense? I noticed the numbers on all of his dynamic weightlifting exercises in the gym. I noticed that. I'm like, yo, these are starting to get high, yo. Like, seriously, some of them I was like, yo, you getting kind of close to me. Yo, for real. And it kind of gets you to think. Now, he's just one example. Another of my clients, Steve, who's close to losing 100 pounds with us. I am so proud of him. His bench is the highest it's ever been. He just hit 175. I'm so proud of him. His deadlift is almost at 300. He's never touched that before. He's never touched that with him before. I've been working with him for quite a few years now. He's never touched that weight. He's never touched that weight, and he knows. In fact, the video, the one that says we were so loud on the thumbnail, and I've known him for years. He built his own, well, I built it for him. I built the OG Isochain, and I told him he could just have it. So he has his own Isochain that he uses, so he just goes up progressive overload by time, because that's the only feature you can really use for it, outside of increasing with the extra rep for every exercise. So that's what he's doing. I can tell when he's using the Isochain. It is very apparent. Another client, her knees hurt, her back hurt. She's in her early 40s. She is doing fantastic towards her weight loss goals with us, and I'm super excited for that. But all of a sudden, and we would get like these weird pulls with her abs, like doing leg lifts on the floor and 6 inches in planks. Yo, it's gone. It's gone. And I'm just like, normally I hear it like it's not, I don't want to say complaints. I feel like that's a strong word. She would let me know, it's like, hey, I kind of feel this. And I just, like, over time, I kind of started hearing less and less and less. And then I asked her, I was like, hey, do you still feel? And she's like, no, actually, no, I haven't felt it for a while now. And I'm just like, so remember, I told you guys about my knees, right? And it's so crazy, the bulletproofing effect. I mean, not only the strength, but just the fact that it keeps us safe. The strength keeps us safe in the weight room by itself, let alone with other things. In fact, her husband had wicked, notice I just said had, wicked tendinitis in his elbows. They're gone. they actually purchased their own Isochain through Dragon Door, and it's gone. They have their own in their house. So I just supervise. I'm with her for the weightlifting and cardio, and I have her do the Isochain protocol at home. Her and her husband, they do the same thing. So it's interesting because I already know how this goes. It's wild. And the last thing I want to cover is the weight loss and toning. Now, I'll go back to what I said about a couple minutes ago, weight loss and the Isochain. Again, the Isochain alone will not get you to lose weight. It will aid because you'll be stronger, but if you want to lose weight, I don't care who you are, you have to be in a calorie deficit. So if you're eating this amount of food and you're at this weight, you have to eat this amount of food to lose weight. It just doesn't make any sense. Like last year, I went up to 189 pounds on purpose, mind you, on purpose. And my normal's around what I am right now, which is about 170, 172. And I had to be in a calorie surplus. I can't just eat normally and gain weight. That makes no sense. I have to increase my calorie intake. If I want to lose weight, I have to decrease my calorie intake, which I did. I went from 2,600 to 3,600 calories last year to gain an average of about 2 pounds a week, and it went right up. It was clockwork. It was clockwork. If anything, it was just mental because I didn't want to eat all that food because I just don't like to eat like that. All right, but then for me, like when it was all right, time to lose the weight again, so I dropped from 189, 187, 185, 183, 181, 179. You know what I'm saying? So I dropped down from 3,600 to 2,600, a calorie deficit, 2 pounds a week. Boom, done. Minus 1,000 calories every week, done like clockwork. It has to be that cardio calorie deficit for weight loss. The Isochain will most certainly help with strength and the weightlifting aspect, because if you strengthen yourself, you can lift more weights. You lift more weights, you develop more lean muscle mass, you burn more body fat, giving you that toned body that you want, but it won't matter. If you're not in a calorie deficit, you'll never see it regardless. All right, guys, hopefully that makes sense. That's what's been going on with my clients, and I'm sure probably in another like 5 to 6 months, there might be more to this list, but for right now, that's what we got. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, go ahead and comment. If you're not yet part of the squad, hit the subscribe button. Join the squad with us. We'll see you next one. Peace.